Every Jehovah's Witness mind starts off with the same blueprint, the governing body. That's your voice of reason. Independent thinking, demonized, and fear of Armageddon, part of your daily routine. If you start questioning anything, you're spiritually sick. Now imagine growing up in that system, or spending 20, 30 years inside it. That structure gets hardwired and you start seeing the world only through the lens of Watchtower. And by the time something feels off, you're not just doubting beliefs, you're questioning who you even are. This is the insane reality of the Jehovah's Witness brain and how it's become a struggle for both the everyday witness and anyone else looking in. Let's get into it. Chapter 1, Knock Knock, Who's There? Ever talk to a JW and feel like you're not really talking to them? That's because you're not. You're talking to their programming. The JW brain runs on auto replies. Ask about child abuse in the organization, we're all imperfect, Jehovah will fix it. Point out a contradiction, the light gets brighter. They're not dumb, they can actually tell right from wrong, but they've been trained not to go there, to shut down doubt before it starts. Critical thinking, that's dangerous. Doubt, that's a sin. And having emotion, that's Satan trying to trick you. Let's say you hear a JW say, we don't worship men, we only follow Jehovah. But in the same breath, you must obey the governing body, even if it doesn't make sense. That's cognitive dissonance and it becomes second nature. You learn to hold two conflicting beliefs and just not see the problem. Like, cigarette smoking gives you cancer, but there were 10% less deaths due to cigarette smoking in 2024 than 2023. Most people ignore the underlying problem. Cigarette smoking can kill you. Likewise, a JW can be confronted with clear evidence that the governing body has made false predictions and have changed their doctrines repeatedly for their benefit, or a bigger one, have mishandled CSA, but still say they're just imperfect men, Jehovah is using them. Completely ignoring the underlying problem. Why would God allow men with bad habits like this to lead? But hey, you don't question it, you celebrate it, because it means Jehovah's organization is keeping up with the times. They know what it takes to get us to paradise, and that's all that matters. Even if yesterday's truth is today's lie. Chapter 2, Don't Have a Good Day, Have a Great Day. Jehovah's Witnesses often come across as some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Polite, soft-spoken, and a smiley face emoji on standby with every text. And that's partly because they're trained to be humble. They're taught kindness, meekness, self-control. But with all those traits comes a quiet invasion of your psyche. You start losing the parts of yourself that make you feel alive. Your emotions, creativity, even the freedom to be a little messy or uncertain. You're told that following your heart is stupid.
There's a common saying today that is popular in the world. Just follow your heart. It sounds so sweet, so agreeable, so innocent. But it's not. It's stupid.
That is nuts.
To blindly follow your heart, which really means to follow your feelings, your emotions, and leave Jehovah out of the picture, is precisely what Proverbs 28:26 is referring to.
They completely ignore the fact that Proverbs 28:26 is actually warning against arrogance. It's not about suppressing your feelings, it's about staying humble and open to wise counsel. They twist it to say your heart is a liar, just like they twist Jeremiah 17:9, the heart is treacherous.
We escape from being guided by a treacherous heart. That's the point. It's as Jeremiah 17:9 says, the heart is more treacherous than anything else and is desperate.
But that verse isn't saying emotions are evil or that your heart is out to get you. It's more like a heads up. Pride can cloud your judgment. That's a very different message. Instead of learning to listen to your feelings, you're trained to silence them because feelings are seen as dangerous. So you smile wherever you go, even when you're doubting, hurting, or falling apart inside. It's like you're putting on a new personality. In fact, that's exactly what they say.
The new personality is a way of thinking and acting that reflects Jehovah's personality. So that's the goal.
But what that really means is deleting who you are. You start to feel more like an NPC, like you're just running a script instead of living. You can't follow your dreams. You can't show real compassion to people outside the organization. It's all baked into the programming. Smile, behave, look presentable. So you can attract others into the cult, so they can change who they are too. And if you ever glitch, step outside their script, you'll get reset, punished like a child. If love truly identifies a witness as they claim it does,
clothe yourselves with love.
Love identifies us.
Then where are the shelters, the food banks, the support for people in crisis? Why can't they be friends with the LGBTQ community? Why can't they have open, respectful conversations with other religions? I'll tell you why. Because in the programming, anyone outside the organization is spiritually dead. They're lost, dangerous, they don't have Jehovah, and you're told to be careful. So the only help you're allowed to give them is a Bible study. And that's how Jehovah's Witness traps you. Not with chains, but with a smile, reminding everybody all is okay and to have a great day. Chapter 3, Rewired for Obedience. So the brain isn't just thinking because it runs on patterns. And when you repeat stuff enough, especially with fear or trauma, your brain rewires itself. That's how cults work. They rewire how you think. Your brain has two sides. The right side handles more emotion and intuition. The left side deals more with logic and language. And the key is integration, the ability for both sides to work together. That's what helps you put emotions into words, regulate them, and make sense of what you're feeling. A healthy brain balances the two. You feel something, then think it through. But when you're constantly under fear, guilt, and pressure, that balance breaks. Your logic part shuts down. Your fear part takes over. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for reasoning, gets bypassed. Your amygdala, which processes fear, takes over. To put it simply, imagine you're watching a horror movie and you're yelling at the screen. Don't go upstairs, but the character does it anyway because they're panicking. Fear has hijacked logic. They're not thinking, they're reacting. Get it? Now imagine your whole life like that. The left side of your brain is rarely ever used. Chapter 4, the Zombos Effect. Ever play Plants vs. Zombies? Plants vs. Zombies is a tower defense strategy game where players use various types of plants to defend their home from waves of cartoonish zombies. The zombies here don't think for themselves, they aren't allowed to. They just shuffle in one direction. Because something off screen is calling the shots. Dr. Zombos, a zombie mastermind who controls and commands the zombie hordes. That's what being a Jehovah's Witness can feel like. It doesn't matter what leads them to danger, as long as the governing body are the ones calling the shots. Jehovah's Witnesses, trust them, as long as they say it's okay. Ever heard the saying, if you say jump, I'll ask how high? For decades, no man was allowed to wear a beard and women weren't allowed to wear pants. Then one day the men in charge say it's okay.
The governing body does not have an issue with brothers wearing beards.
That sisters may choose to wear slacks when participating in the ministry and when attending Christian meetings, assemblies, and conventions.
And quickly, the brothers and sisters in the congregation start adapting. It doesn't matter if these changes resulted in people being hurt in the past for not following the rules. They never apologize for the harm they've caused. I myself was ridiculed and physically pushed around for having a light beard because I didn't shave for a week. And this happened 3 months shy of this rule change. And did I get an apology? Of course not. When it comes to the more serious stuff like giving up a blood transfusion, it doesn't matter if a Bible scripture is taken way out of context. A Jehovah's Witness trusts the governing body. When it comes to not reporting sex abuse to the authorities, protecting the organization's image is of the utmost importance. ExJW keeps moving, smiling, obeying, all for Jehovah. But really, they're following the governing body. To them, Jehovah, the governing body, and the organization as a whole are one and the same. You criticize one, and you've disrespected their version of the Holy Trinity. Conclusion, the virus. We've talked about a lot, how cognitive dissonance reshapes thought, how personality gets suppressed, how the brain itself is rewired under control, and how all of this creates a kind of spiritual autopilot. But underneath it all, there's one emotion driving it, a kind of virus infecting their entire system. Fear. Fear of Armageddon, fear of losing family, fear of being alone, and fear of disappointing Jehovah. So they keep going. They smile, they serve, they comment. They repeat the script because it feels safer than asking questions. And when they get a little praise at the Kingdom Hall, a handshake, a compliment for a talk, a round of applause for pioneering, that becomes the reward. It feels like spiritual growth, but it's really just survival mode because their brain has been trained not to think but to obey. Not to feel, but to perform. Not to question, but to protect the organization at all costs. So if you've never been one of Jehovah's Witnesses, or if you love someone who still is, remember, that programming runs deep. They're not bad people. They're not your enemy. They're doing what they were taught to do, often since birth. And if you are already out, be gentle with yourself. Healing takes time. If you're still waking up, don't rush it. And if someone you love is still inside, don't give up hope. Because sometimes, all it takes is one small crack in the wall for the light to start shining through. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, then click here if you want to know more about why being a Jehovah's Witness is actually a problem. It actually ties in perfectly with today's video, and it's one of my most watched videos. Don't forget to hit that like button, share with someone you think needs to hear this, and until next time, my name is MJ, take care, stay safe, and remember, you can't make any of this up. Deuces.